A lot of people are wondering why they're attracting unhealthy partners, unhealthy relationships. Different person, same freaking situation. Now, when we start attracting, first off, you're not attracting, you're choosing. Because right now in front of me, there's like 50 different things, 50, 100 different types of bits of information that I could be choosing to do. I could not be choosing to make this video. In fact, I can just leave my camera on and choose to just do nothing and do something else and not make this video, right? So we're choosing because people are always gravitating towards what they think will benefit them the most. So what is beneficial about attracting a unhealthy partner? Well, unhealthy partners, right? Same situation over and over and over. There's a lesson here to learn. There's a dynamic energy that keeps getting played out over and over in your life because it's time for you to learn the lesson. What's the lesson though? Why are we attracting people who want to not love you the way you deserve to be loved? And what does that look like for you? What do you do in the relationship that makes you feel like you're not getting love? What do you have to do? Like, what are you physically doing in the relationship? Are you doing more than them? Are you giving more than them? Are you burning out? Are you tired of not receiving this love back? Well, guess what? That's because there's an energy replaying within your life, a subconscious pattern, a story. And it's just a pattern. It's not you. It's not your fault. You're just used to this. So it's adding your conscious awareness to this pattern. And then it's like, oh crap, I do this. And once you add your conscious awareness to it, now it's a choice. It's no longer, why do I keep attracting these unhealthy, unpleasant partners? It's literally a choice because now you can choose to consciously, deliberately not to take action in this way. So what is it? What is causing this? Well, earlier on in our stages of life, we have two people that love us the most. If we're lucky, right? Our mom and dad. And either if you're adopted or you only had one mom or maybe one dad or both of each, I don't know, whatever you've had, right? And if you've had none, that also starts to incorporate an abandonment wound, right? It creates this anxiousness in your personality matrix where you start becoming anxious and you start fearing when people are going to leave. So you end up doing more, right? Now let's step back to having these two people that do love us, right? What if they're not loving us the way we want to be loved? Maybe we see our friends growing up being loved different. Maybe they have more. Maybe they're not getting hit. Maybe they're not getting abused. Maybe they get to eat as much food as they want. That kind of happened for me. I'd be going to my friends' houses when I was younger, and I'd be like, always looking like, oh, what do you have to eat? Because anyway, my traumas and abuse are for another time. However, point is, the love that we didn't receive, it's first off, it's not our mom or dad's fault. They didn't know how to love us. However, when we keep wanting the love that we wanted, we start to do things that we think means they will love us. We start to become this mold of something that we think they want us to be in order to get their love. So what if that means getting straight A's or being the perfect kid or whatever? Then they'll love us? What about all the stuff that you did do growing up and they still didn't love you? Think about that. And then what happened? You tried harder and harder and harder. And for some of you, you went down a different path. Maybe you started being that kid that left school early, started doing drugs, smoking cigarettes, right? Because the love and attention wasn't coming from mom or dad. So what did you do? You became a rebel, right? And in that though, you thought by doing that, maybe they would see the damage and maybe they could love you more as well. So either way, you're abandoning yourself. That's the deep wound. You're abandoning who you are in order to serve and please others. And also, if you were skipping out and you were abandoning yourself in physical, healthy ways, right? And that may have transferred throughout the rest of your adult life. So recognizing that even if we did what we could have to the best of our ability, they still didn't give us that love. So there's that cycle. That's where that's stemming from. How do we stop this now? How do we translate this into our relationships now? Well, that starts by understanding, why are we doing so much? Why are you doing all these things for this person? Why are you loving them endlessly and giving them all your affection and need? Because if you do that, you believe inherently you will get their love back and their support because you know what it's like. And I know what it's like. to not be loved, to not have that comfort, to not be praised, and from being called like, stupid and an idiot growing up. It's just like, you know what it's like. You know that pain, that sadness. You never want to give that to anybody. You don't want anybody else to ever experience that. And through that, there's liberation, because it's not our job to fix other people. And it wasn't our job to possibly fix mom or dad, or give them and show up the way they want us to in order to get their love. Because what we're doing is implementing the same thing over and over by giving people something that they're not reciprocating back to us. And then we think if we keep doing it more, that eventually they will. That's not how it works. It always goes downhill, does it not? Anytime I've been in a relationship where I've people pleased and gave more, it didn't turn out better. It didn't get easier. It got worse. I burnt out more and started wondering why I wasn't enough. My last girlfriend was a covert narcissist. And I learned that through healing from therapy, from doing personal development. I can't claim psychologically she was. She has all the traits of how she treated me. It was back and forth, constantly telling me I'm not good enough, gaslighting on top of... You know what the worst thing that she told me that actually messed me up in that relationship was? She told me I spoke backwards. And whenever I try to bring up my concerns to her, that it doesn't make sense. So I literally started believing that I'm not a good communicator. And that made it even worse for me to communicate her behaviors and the actions she was doing, because she also got physically abusive. And it was either way, though, I thought I couldn't communicate well. And it was during that, we were locked down. We were locked in. There was nothing I could do. I had no sense of freedom and I felt stuck. Either way, though, I bought into that story and it made things worse. And all I could do was try to please her as much as possible and be more and be enough. And one day I finally got a text message from her saying, "You're the best boyfriend I've ever had, blah, blah, blah." And this was when I was planning my way out. It was a month prior. And I also broke up with her after that next month. And then I found out she was cheating on me for like 6 months with one of her coworkers. For 6 months. She couldn't tell me, sleeping in the same bed with me, right? But the only reason why she sent me that text is because she knew I was building my way out. She knew I was becoming more financially stable and ready to leave. And then in fact, she started asking me for a bunch of money at the end that she never paid back. So I'm just letting you know, like, how I don't know why I'm getting this vulnerable with this. I don't even know if this is benefiting you at all. I hope it does. Point is, though, is I overextended myself for too long and gave because I felt like it wasn't enough. And finally, when I got that text, I was already leaving. And that's what I meant. It's love bombing. That's what I was aiming towards. That's why it was relevant. Because the love bombing, they know how to manipulate you. So we have to look at, why are we doing these things? Because we think we're going to get love back. We think that if we finally do more than enough, they will finally love us the way we deserve to be loved. Because there's that energy cycle replaying from our deepest wounds of growing up, that we're not worthy of love, that we don't deserve to be loved, no matter how much we did. And it's just a pattern. It's just a pattern we're just used to doing. I can't speak for I don't do that anymore. And if you find yourself in this situation, recognize the pattern. Where did it come from? And ask yourself, why am I doing this? Because a lot of the times, this is the deeper wound. It's worthiness. We don't believe that we're worthy of love. We don't believe it. And if we can fix them or give them that love, then we'll be worthy enough to receive it. But you're giving it to a freaking bottomless pit. And these people that are a bottomless freaking pit, babe, sweetheart, you beautiful freaking soul, they're giving you breadcrumbs when you deserve the whole freaking loaf, the whole loaf. And you're getting breadcrumbs thinking that that's enough, because they've made you believe that. Because you believe that. Because a breadcrumb feels like the whole loaf. Because they've created that environment where the breadcrumb feels like the whole loaf, and it's not. And you deserve the whole loaf. I cannot get more clear on that. For fucking real. All right? Here's the thing. Because the energy we're giving out is the energy we wish to receive. That is what is happening in this situation. Again, it's just, we believe if we give it, we will get it. That's not how that works. I'm not saying don't give. Give to someone who's reciprocating it. Not someone who feels like a bottomless pit. of breadcrumbs. And that's all there is in that little freaking cup. It's an empty cup, and you are pouring you into that. It's easier to love someone else more than it is to love ourselves, especially if we don't find ourselves inherently worthy, especially if we don't find ourselves worthy of love. It's easier to give what we desire to someone else rather than looking from deep within ourselves and wondering what's happening. It's easier to not look at that wound and that pain and that suffering of where it really came from for us and take on the responsibility of healing it and adding our conscious awareness to it, because it freaking fucking hurts. It hurts to look at that pain. That's your shadow. When they say shadow work, that's what that fucking means. It's the pain and the suffering and the patterns that have been replaying in your fucking world that follow you around that you don't want to look at. Why? Because most of the time we can't see our fucking shadow. Our shadow's right behind us. That's why. Our shadow is not in front of us. It's behind us. So when you start looking at your shadow and these deep core wounds of being not worthy of love and just being unworthy of anything, it's easier for us to give to other people that love and abundance and worthiness we want to receive than to do our own work and be like, holy crap, I don't think I like, if you have that limiting belief in story, you're like, holy crap, I don't believe I'm worthy of it. And that fucking hurts. That fucking hurts because that's the belief. That's the story you tell yourself. And it's in your subconscious. You don't want to, nobody wants to look at that. Because you know what happens then? Especially for narcissistic people, because this is why narcissists, they're deeply wounded as fuck. I'm telling you, they are that because they need to manipulate their environment to get their needs met. Because they're deeply wounded and they inherently don't believe that they are worthy. Because somewhere in their life, they were traumatized to a degree where they felt like they were broken, damaged goods, and just not worthy. So they create this fake persona of they're perfect when they're really not. And they don't want to fucking look at that shadow. This isn't just for narcissists. I'm just saying, like, that's why they are who they are, for the most part. I'm not a psychologist to define someone being a narcissist. These are the traits I've recognized. Point is, when you start looking into our shadow and doing that work, it hurts. And once we can awaken from it, we start to consciously add our awareness to what was in our subconscious and be like, okay, now what? How do we solve this? How are we going to solve our worthiness wound? Well, came to the right place. Because again, it's easier to love someone else than to love yourself, especially when you don't love yourself or believe you don't deserve it. And it's much easier to not take responsibility of your wounds and just help everybody else besides yourself. So we have to start helping ourselves. That's the solution. That means setting boundaries in healthy ways and loving ways, and knowing that you don't have to do so much to receive love, because the love that you give is enough. And if not, somebody's not reciprocating, it's time for you to recognize that they're not the right person to be giving that love to. And you have a corrective conversation. Hey, I feel that I've been doing all of this, and here's the behavior you've been doing. Put the responsibility on them. Do not be afraid of the outcome, because we most of the time don't set boundaries with people and talk about their behavior because we're afraid they're going to leave us. And back when I was living with that woman, my ex-girlfriend, I was afraid if she did break up with me, I didn't know where I was going to live because I was financially dependent on her for a limited time until I finally figured that out. Point is, I was afraid of the outcome, so I didn't set boundaries. And I couldn't even talk to her about her behavior. So, and I was scared. Anytime I called her out, somehow she flipped it on me. See? Fear. That's how she controlled the relationship. Here's the other thing. So, place the boundary, and here's what I would like to experience in our relationship. Here's your behavior. Here's what I want to experience in our relationship, because I love you, because I want to grow with you, because I want this to work. Are you willing to step up to the plate? Are you willing to do this and become this version of you? I don't want you to change. I want to know if you're willing to do the incremental adjustment that's needed for both of us to be in a healthy, loving relationship with each other and grow together rather than grow apart. Because up to you. What do you want to do? It's that easy, y'all. I'm not kidding you. Here's the formula. I feel this X emotion, and make an argument that's inarguable. So you start expressing how you feel. the physical attributes in your body. I feel this tightness in my heart. I feel this, my throat is dry. I feel like I can't express stuff. I feel anger. I feel sad. I feel love. I feel depressed. Whatever you're actually feeling, like actual emotions. I don't think depression is an emotion, but maybe. You express that. You say, I feel this emotion, and this is where I feel it physically in my body. Nobody can argue with how you feel within your body. And you know what that means? It means now they have to accept you. And this is how you can identify a narcissist. If they try to gaslight how you feel, that doesn't work, babe. Throw that shit out the fucking window, okay? And then you simply say, here's your behavior, and here's what I want. You create the call to action. So I feel emotions, the physicality in your body. Here's your behavior I'm presenting to you, and here's what I want to experience in order for us to have this. And don't just start being a boundaries setting queen or king. Just freaking let them know, like, hey, I love you and I want this relationship to work and I enjoy this time with you. Always start with the freaking compliment sandwich. You start with the things that you love and adore about them. And then you say, hey, and here's the areas in our life where we're struggling and I would like to address them with you. And then you do, and then finish it off with a compliment because I want this life with you. This is what I want to experience with you. That's what the whole point of setting this stuff for is, like, all right? So you take ownership in that. So you take ownership, responsibility to set your boundary. And if they're not working out and they want to leave and they don't want to do that, great. They just showed you who they are. Would you really want to stay another freaking year or two with them? No. Stop. There's someone on the other side of the unknown, of this fear of the unknown, that's going to love you the way you deserve to be loved. Doing the inner deep work, right? And this has changed my life significantly. My relationship with my mom, my relationship with my dad, me and him have reconnected recently, and everything is just well for me in my relationship, especially with my friends. I had a dear friend where we grew apart because I expressed some things that I wasn't enjoying in the friendship, and we ended up growing back together. We ended up reconnecting. They realized, hey, I see what you were explaining, and it was an opportunity for both of us to grow and expand. I was like, yep. And I still welcome them with open arms because they are a long-term dear friend of mine. And I expressed to them how I felt in certain situations, and they realize it. And now they make time for me. Now they see the importance of the friendship they had with me. And it took me standing up to that. So you got to own this for yourself, because here's the thing. We're taught that love is conditional. Again, we got to do something to get it back. We got to change that. Yes, you can. If you're going to give out of love. You don't have the expectation that you will receive it. Does that make sense? This is the ultimate factor. When you give, it's out of kindness, out of love. You don't expect anything. And if something comes back that loves you harder, that loves you as just as much, you have it right, babe. You have it set. You are good to freaking go. And if it feels like you keep giving more than you're receiving, there's a certain point where it's like, hey, we gotta set boundaries. We gotta, grow apart. All good. All good. It doesn't mean you stop giving. Sometimes there's situations where your partner can't give you as much. Have a corrective conversation. Talk about it. This is what I need in my relationship because you deserve to have your needs met. Love is not conditional. It's unconditional. Love is unconditional. Without the condition needing to change, you can stay in the vibration of feeling love within yourself and accepting yourself of love, knowing you are inherently worthy of love. The universe gave you a beating heart. You are worthy of living life and experiencing love. Like I said, doesn't mean unconditionally accepting what you don't prefer in your reality. That's a for sure no. Set boundaries. That's how you stop that. And here's my biggest solution. And this one I do myself because when I was with that ex of mine, I did anything for her. And plus I had a lot of free time, right? I put my own needs of music production and learning and the things that I was passionate about aside to please her needs. I learned how to dye hair. I learned how to color hair. I learned how to cut split ends. I learned all sorts of things that she wanted and I did for her. What did I do for myself? I put all the things that I loved, all the things my heart was beating for aside. And when that relationship ended, I realized, holy crap, if I'm willing to do all of that for her, Imagine if I truly believed that I'm worthy of the path that I'm heading on and the things that I want. Imagine what I can do for myself. So I said, holy crap. Now I have a reason. Now I have a reason to love myself. I started watching YouTube video after YouTube video about music production, more and more things. And I expanded in all areas of my life because I started realizing I am worthy to love myself. Just as much as whatever I gave to her, I'm now allowing myself and giving myself permission to love myself that deeply. So what you do, here's the solution. You imagine a imaginary mannequin, a little buddy over here, like imaginary friend, like it could be a kid again, right? Hey, little buddy, how's it going? And basically what you do is whatever problems you have coming up in your life that you want a solution or answer to, or you don't feel a certain way, you don't feel so good, you're not feeling a little espresso depresso, you know, you take your little buddy here and they're basically, you know, they like everything you like. So what do you think your buddy over here needs to hear? Or you need to take them to a pizza place or order pizza or watch a movie? What do you think is going to make them feel better? This is your direct reflection, right? So now whatever you say or do to this mannequin, you just say or do to yourself because it's you. Because a lot of times we're willing to do more for people that we perceive care or love for us more than ourselves, especially if we don't love ourselves. So if you start to perceive that you love yourself more, you can give yourself that love. Hey, what do you need? You know, that's what I've been doing. And sometimes I don't feel good or my best. And I'm like, if I was me and I was, you know, not in a weird narcissistic way, like if I was dating myself, what would I like someone to do for me? Right? Maybe bring me a cup of tea, give me a blanket, bring me my onesie and put my onesie on, go take me to the gym to work out and feel better, give me vitamins, drink water, serve myself, make myself a nice warm meal that I love, something that makes me feel good. And I just do those things for myself. And every time I look back and I'm like, man, I'm grateful I did that. And then I celebrate it. I'm like, thank you, me, thank you, physical body, for getting up and doing these things for me. My physical body is doing it. And I thank my physical body. I speak to all my cells in my body and I say, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for having all this energy. And I don't even have to think about how to metabolize food. Thank you for doing that. Because your body is the freaking mannequin. You are like you are your body. Well, also your body is literally like its own thing. So you're never alone. All those cells in your body and all the organs working, like you're never alone. You have bacteria living in you as well, good and bad, right? So give that love to yourself and thank your body for being able to provide the energy necessary to do those things. Because the more you can do the practice of self-love, you start to realize this is the love I deserve in relationship with someone. Because the things I'm willing to do for myself, I'm also willing to do for others. This is what I deserve back. Not because I do it, I'm going to get it, but because I do it, it is happening. I am getting it back because I know what I'm worthy of. Not, hey, I'm going to keep doing this and expect that it comes back. Because an expectation means like you're expecting it. But where the fuck is it? Where the fuck is it coming from? Is it coming? If it's not, it's a clear indicator there's something wrong in your relationship that needs to be addressed. So start loving yourself as deeply as you're willing to meet the needs and love of others and how much you're willing to support them. Start doing this for you as well, because you are inherently worthy of love and you deserve to treat yourself like a king, a queen, prince, princess. You are royalty and you are allowed to get those wings out and give all that love to yourself as well while you're able to give it to others. So I love you deeply. I care about you and I'm so excited for your personal development. Let me know how this video helped you in the comments below and maybe watch this video next. Bye.